incredibly sad. Just for Razorback fans, for just people in general, how would you describe, Big O's meaning to the Arkansas program?
Well, for the old timers, folks my age and older, Big O was a really big deal. And when he came here in 1988, he was a highly recruited player, but he wasn't Todd Day, Lee Mayberry, top 10 players in the country recruited. But it was a big get and really got him over Oklahoma. It came down to Arkansas and Oklahoma. Billy Tubbs was at OU, and what a great career he had at Arkansas. And 4 years, he has a chance to win 8 conference championships. He wins 4 regular seasons, 4 out of 4. That'll never be broken, maybe tied. And he was a part of 3 conference tournament championships out of 4. He won 7 out of 8. So for old timers like me, Big O was a really big deal. You look at him and his teams, it was winning championships. It was going to the Final Four. They were so great. I mean, they were beating Shaquille O'Neal. They were beating great teams and great players. And a lot of people think there's an argument that it's the greatest Razorback basketball team or teams of all time. 93, 94 gets all the glory because of the national championship. And to me, that's the greatest team because they got it done. But Oliver Miller was a great player on a great team in an incredible era of Razorback basketball.
That's what I was going to ask. He obviously played such a big role in ushering in that golden age. Just as a player, just how unique he was, what role did he play on those teams in terms of helping Arkansas and, ushering in that age ultimately?
He was such a unique player because he would get rebounds, or if it was a made basket, he could step out of bounds and fire this baseball pass that we see Jokic do all the time now. But back then, you didn't see players doing that. He had this incredible ability to throw long, down the court passes to Lee Mayberry, Todd Day, Arlen Bowers, Ron Hury. They're streaking to the basket, and Coach Richardson used to call it back at you. And they'd score and it was right back at you. But he could get a defensive rebound and throw it that way. I saw him throw two-handed, incredible passes down the floor, but a lot of them were one-handed baseball throws. That was one of the most unique things, his passing ability. He was a great half-court passer, and he could shoot the ball pretty good. Now, he wasn't out shooting a lot of threes, but 15 feet and in, he was deadly. You got squared up, he was knocking it down. You could throw it in the post. He could play with his back to the basket and score. And this is a guy that leaves Arkansas. He's a first-round draft pick, and immediately he's playing in the NBA Finals with the Suns against the Chicago Bulls. And an incredible story of Oliver Miller. He was a great NBA player early on. And this guy never weighed 200 or 250 or 300. He was always north of that. And he was such a great player playing at that size.
Yeah, so unique with that size. I remember watching highlights of him when I was younger, and just to be able to come down here now and all the above. What about Oliver as just personality in terms of, that's what I've seen, just the outpouring, right, and the loss that it is. What about Oliver as a person made him, so connectable, and just for people to be able to connect with him the way they did?
Big O and a huge personality. He would get loud, he would get laughing, he would tell stories, he could tell jokes. He liked to bust on his teammates. His teammates loved him so much, and just an incredible personality. That's why it's been really tough these last few months. And he'd had the first battle with cancer a year and a half or so ago, and he kind of got through that. And we were really thinking things were going very well. And in the fall, it got bad again, and it just constantly got worse. But his personality, he fought to the end. Even on the day, he wanted to come to the reunion on February 22nd so badly. And on that day, he sent a video to Todd Day, and it was the sweetest video, and he just wanted to be there. He just wanted to be around his teammates. It was heartbreaking that he couldn't be. It's been a very tough time, and his teammates have been amazing. We have a group chat, and it's got Mike Anderson, Scott Edgar, Wayne Stelling, a lot of the coaches and staff and all the players on this group text. And Big O was in there. Then we had one, without Big O as well, because we'd always have to give Big O updates. And those guys, when he went into hospice a few days ago, Scott Edgar, who's the assistant coach on that team, sent out and said, "I think we should fast for Big O." And Arlen Bowers said, "Let's start tomorrow, Coach. Sun up to sundown, liquids only." And those guys have been doing that. And it's been incredible, just reading the text messages, and you'll wake up and there'll be all these guys saying prayers in text messages to their teammate, Oliver Miller. It's touched me in such an incredible way, and I know it's touched them too. And as we were learning of the passing and going through all that in the last few hours, they were all like, we're praying for Big O, his mom, Annie, his family. but all of us too, his teammates, and several of them mentioned we got to pray for each other because this is a huge loss for each one of us, and that's the fourth one off that 1990 team. And these guys aren't in their 80s or 70s; these guys are in their 50s, and Big O passes at 54. Very sad day for the Razorbacks.
Yeah, unbelievably sad. Just wrapping up here, for you personally, when you think of Oliver Miller, when you think of Big O, you think of what?
I think of the great games he had against Shaquille O'Neal in LSU. I think about the big wins over LSU in that matchup. I think about the great passes. I think of the big one-handed dunks that he would get in Barnhill Arena. And I think of all the fans, not just the students, but all the fans who had the Big O tradition. And they would, oh, and it was an incredible tribute to him every game because he always did something every game to earn that. And they did it the other day, and I loved our students doing it because they weren't alive when he played. But it was so nice that they did that in Bud Walton Arena, a place that he helped build. He was very instrumental because Razorback basketball was booming, and the 9,000-seat Barnhill was not big enough anymore. And Oliver Miller was a big reason that Bud Walton got built. He never played in it, but I love the fact that he got that Big O tribute on February 22nd against Missouri. Great thoughts of Big O. He touched so many people in the world, and a great NBA player as well. And I know that he touched people in Toronto and Phoenix. They're talking about him. But in Arkansas, he was extraordinary.